Hello, family, friends, and others. I couldn't pass up this opportunity to interview this queen. Actually, Queen of Sheba, yeah, her name is Makeda. And many know her in Seattle. She's a community leader. She's won awards. She's done, I can go on and on, but always like to tell the story of how I met her. I looked a little different than I do now. Uh, because that was about 35 years ago. I was an investigative news reporter, and I went to interview her for a story. She was an African dance instructor. Not that she's not that now, but she's just taking it to another level, raise the vibration. If you look at one of our other videos, you will see her doing that at the conference with Olatunji drummers who we've traveled with. I was the PR director for 5 years, and Makeda had a very special relationship with Babatunde Olatunji, and we did with their drummers, which is Sanga of the Valley, Sikaru Adepoju, and Gordy Ryan. So that was quite a great experience. But back to her African movement specialization, it helps to channel or move, I don't want to use the word channel, but move the energy upward to keep you alive. She is 66 years old. Age ain't nothing but a number. I can't do it no more. I dance in the chair now. I can do a couple of moves. I'll get up and do something, but not past 2 minutes. And so I'd like to ask you, Makeda, what is the difference between African dance and African movement? How did you get to the movement level?
Actually, African dance is traditional. It comes from Africa and it's beautiful from A through Z. And it has all of the wonderfulness that you would think of contained in African dance experience. How African movement specialists came into fruition is based on my sensei, Dr. Maxine Mims. I've been around for many, many years, and one day she said to me, "You're more than a dancer, you are an African movement specialist." And at first, I was like, what is she talking about? And I had to think on it. I had to sit with it. I had to allow for it to move in my system. And I realized that African movement is everything. It's all what I do. It's not just the dance on the stage. It is the walk, it's the talk, it's the expression. It's holistic. And I began to embrace it fully. I feel that the movement aspect of what is natural, and we are going to say African because African people was first on this planet, that's the true classic form of dance, therefore movement. And because of that, African movement specialist is an acceptable title.
I know that you were a mentee of Katherine Dunham, and when you first had your experiences with Katherine Dunham, especially with Dambala Yambalu, I learned from you that African dance always had a life meaning. Each dance had a significance, whether it was for the harvest, whether it was for grief, whether it was for love, or a wedding, or whatever. There is a dance that goes with everything. So I'm wondering, how did Katherine Dunham empower you?
Okay, well, when I was in college, Alameda College in Alameda, I was introduced.
That's California, right?
That's California.
Okay.
I was introduced to Afro-Haitian dance. And in that experience, I started to learn these dances, the Yambaloo, the Mai, and Igbo, all from Haiti. I learned about Katherine Dunham then. And I recognized that my first introduction through dance was from the kunga first, and it just was natural, the feel.
You mean a conga drum?
Yeah, the kunga drum was the natural feel. So when we started to do the Afro-Haitian, they brought in the kunga.
Yes.
And we did some shows, and I noticed that within my body, it was just central and so natural and seated in my spirit. So I continued with this form of movement. I recognized that the central part of the body is always involved. It's always involved. And so therefore, it's my centerpiece. It's the person that I give the most credit to. It's Katherine Dunham, because she introduced that style of dance to America. And that was my introduction.
And I also recall you saying African dance saved your life. And you spoke a little bit about Josephine Baker and how a lot of the dance teachers and, you know, and even the lecturers and the scholars and Kwame Ture, we can name them all, Urta Kitt, they moved to France because they were welcomed in France. And then Josephine Baker is most known for the banana dance, right? And I learned dance history from Makeda, but I really became immersed to know that there was a dance I could do when I felt a certain way. And it saved my life, and I could say all kind of ways, but this isn't about me. When you said that to me, how did it save your life?
What I recognize is that art itself is in the heart, and in that you connect to the art within you. Dance happens to be my expression. It is a savior. I recognize that we are living in a construct that doesn't welcome us fully. And by being in a construct called America, the Western paradigm, is very volatile to me as an African woman. In order for me to move basically smoothly, even though there's rough waters, I had to have dance in my life.
Yeah.
And indigenous dance, we may call African dance, we may call classic dance, is a gift by the Most High. And I recognize that that's how I communicate. And in that, it has gotten me through everything. That's why I'm here today.
Yeah. Then my final statement/question is, would you say that African dance is a form of having a spiritual awakening experience?
Absolutely. I feel that we have many modalities that we live by in our life. We have religion. We have various practices, traditional practices. We have various paths that we can move through in our lives. I recognize that dance is not just kinesthetic. That it's codified within the body and gives you an opportunity to make choices that your intellect will miss.
Yeah, yeah.
And by utilizing any form of information that you have that you are processing, if you apply dance to it, it gives you insight.
Yeah.
It allows for you to see beyond the immediate, and then therefore you can be re-informed, connected to your spiritual scrolls that is placed in you, in your DNA by the Most High. And therefore, even if your intellect doesn't get it from the left side of the brain, the right side of the brain gets it. You know? And as you move with that, you will see the figure eight of that, allowing for you to be at a different place in the space. And therefore, you find yourself safe in any place in space in that kind of movement. So I don't have any labels that I can put in my use of my energy on the planet, but I trust in the Most High guiding me through dance.
Well, that was a whole lot, and as you've often referred to, Africa dance is the dance of life. And I recall that conversation and something similar that you had with our Luo, Baba Karaday, and how he just said, just make it make sense. In other words, I'm not going to get into that story.
I remember he said to me, because we was talking about the Elekes.
We were in New Jersey.
And we was in New Jersey. And we was vibing each other.
Yeah.
Right? No, nothing said. But we was in the vibe. Right? And then everything was going on. And when we got ready to leave, he looked at me and said, you don't have to get your Eleke as long as you be good.
That's Baba.
And I remember that. And I was already in alignment. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, and she tells me that story, and I've heard it through the years. So, anyway, so we're going to conclude with this interview with Makeda Ebube in Seattle, Washington. And hopefully, if you come to any of our events that's coming up or our conference next year, you'll get to meet her and have that African movement experience. Thank you so much. Peace, one love, Lafia, and all those things. Odabo. Thank you.